Hi guys, me again. In the last video, obviously I teased talking about class times, so this is a sensitive topic and I'm going to try to give as much info on this as I possibly can. With the programs being the same, starting in January at both gyms, it makes less sense for us to keep East as hour-long classes. So we're going to move to 45-minute classes at East. Before you freak out, I want you to think about this example. Back in 2020, when COVID happened and we had a shutdown, we came back from the shutdown and we had a stipulation from the government or whatever that we had to do 45-minute classes. So we couldn't do hour-long classes anymore. I don't know why that was a stipulation. Maybe you catch COVID at 46 minutes versus 45. Doesn't matter. The point is, it actually became a better thing for our gym. There was less like dead time in the hour. And we originally Station, I thought it was going to cramp our style as a gym, like going from an hour to 45-minute classes. But when we stepped back and looked at how our hour-long class was actually spent before COVID, if there was a 6 p.m. class, the first 10 minutes were spent not doing anything. Like it was like we would let people come in late, people were stretching, talking, whatever, and we would usually get rolling around like 6:10, 6:12, something like that. We'd say, all right guys, come over to the board. Once you come over to the board, you guys know this, there's a board talk that takes at least 5 minutes. So let's say the board talk is 5 to 7 minutes. So now you're looking at 6:17. Then you say, all right, people, disperse, grab your barbells, get set up. You're doing a 3x5 back squat or whatever. So then people go grab their barbells, they go get set up. And by the time they're doing their first meaningful back squat, it's already 6:22. So now you're looking at 38 minutes of actual work time within an hour-long class. As to where when we switched to 45 minutes, it forced us to take the same volume we were doing before, condense it or package it in a more efficient way. And that's kind of where the evolution started. And it made it so that going over the board was a little bit easier and streamlined. So we would go, class starts at 6 p.m. That's a hard start. People gather around the board at 6 p.m. instead of 6:10 or 6:12. You go over the workout for 5 to 7 minutes. Sometimes if it's me, it's 8 to 9 minutes, right? Because I'm trying to make jokes and no one's laughing. And so I just keep doing it. And it's just like, I don't know, really frustrating. So let's say class starts now, or I'm sorry, the board talk is over at 6:07. So now you're looking at 38 minutes of work time in a 45-minute class versus 38 minutes of work time in an hour-long class. So really, like, I think the common misconception with shaving off time to a class is we're getting less work or we're getting less for our money. If you consider the time spent there talking while class is in session as time that you're paying for, then I might understand that. But I think the root of it is we are now getting less volume for our money, which is not the case at all. It's just about making that time spent in class more efficient and a little more bang bang. And I think there's like, I'm not saying that, people at East are lackadaisical or lacking urgency or anything like that when they're getting their stuff set up. I think people want to get in and get out. I just think that because there's this big time window to do it, there's a little more of like a ho-hum, or it's just not, the expectation has not been created yet that like we should move through things promptly. All right. Whereas at West, when we switch to 45 minutes, people just kind of pick up on that. So that's why we're going to change the class times to 45 minutes instead of an hour. And then the class schedule will mimic the same as West. The only outlier being there's still going to be an 8 a.m. at East and there's still going to be a 10 a.m. at West. So again, I talked about the cherry picking thing in the last video. Someone who's like, well, what about the people who want to go, like if they can't make the 4:30 at West, they go to the 4:45 at East. Like that seems to work out, right? Not really. Like no one does that. right? I haven't met anybody who missed a class time at one of the gyms and drove all the way to the other. In fact, yeah, I just don't think like the location is close enough to where people can go, oh, I'll just go down the street. It's still, that drive still seems like enough of a pain in the ass for the majority of people. They would rather just wait. If they miss the 4:45, they just go to the 5:15. That's another nice thing about 45-minute classes. If you miss one, it is a different story making the next one than it is if you have to wait an hour. Waiting 45 minutes, I know it sounds crazy, but it is different. Think about it this way in the morning, right? If you do the 5:30 a.m., you're like, good, I need to get out of there by 6:30. Bingo. But there's some people who do the 5:30 a.m. because they can't leave the gym at 7:30 a.m. if they did the 6:30. Whereas now, if we go 5:30 to 6:15, and then there's a 6:15 class to 7, that changes the story for some people. So then that class starts to fill up. So that's just my thought process on that. And look, the main thing that is going to be like a topic with this is the less volume thing. I'm always going to come back to that. So I will make this next video on how the program changes and what you guys can expect from that. But yeah, that should cover the class time deal. It doesn't make sense, right, for new people to come in off the street and go, well, oh, there's hour-long classes out there. There's 45-minute classes here. They must be doing more out there. And I'm tired of explaining, no, they're not. It's the same thing, actually. It's just like, yeah, I don't know. We inherited it and it was an hour and we kept it that way because you don't want to like ruffle feathers and you're like, all right, cool. We might as well like make there be some sort of different appeal to the other gym. But I don't think it's that appealing. So, and honestly, I hate to say this, but if I've seen things work a certain way at West for X amount of time, and a lot of the other gyms in the area have either failed or closed down or sold or changed ownership or whatever, I would be crazy to buy one of those gyms and then think that I need to keep things the way that they had it. That's all I'm going to say on that. Not a shot to anybody. That's just like, I know everyone watching this video understands that. It's worked. We're going to continue doing what's worked. That's why things are moving from an hour to 45 minutes. Be ready for the next video. It's coming.